My roommate and good buddy, Lucas, asked me to do him a favor. Take over one of his boyfriend, Andrew's tutoring students. It's a young master in his senior year of high school with a bad temper. The point is, he might have developed some inappropriate feelings for Lucas. To safeguard the hard-won love of my buddy, I had to agree. The first lesson was scheduled for Saturday morning. I arrived at the villa at the appointed time, but the student was nowhere to be seen. He didn't show up until half an hour later. He was all sweaty. I don't know where he had been running around. I watched him pass by me as if he were blind, smiled, and calmly said, "You're Oliver, right? From now on, I'll be in charge of your math. Just call me Teacher Leo." Oliver stopped in his tracks, turned around, stared at me, and frowned deeply. I also pretended not to notice, carried my bag past him, and walked straight upstairs. "I'll give you 10 minutes to clean yourself up and then come see me. I'll be waiting for you in the study." I could feel 2 burning gazes on my back. My shoulder-length hair was a bit in the way of my face, so I made a half-up hairstyle as I walked. There came a rush of footsteps behind me. I finished looping the last rubber band around my hair, stopped, and turned around. Meeting those angry black eyes, I slightly curved my lips. "Help me check if my hair is tied up properly?" Oliver was like a balloon that had suddenly been punctured. The confusion in his eyes dispelled most of his anger. He looked so stupid. I glanced at my watch and gently reminded him, "You've got 8 minutes left." Then I turned around and walked towards his room, and directly pushed the door open. Oliver was still standing there, stunned. After a long while, he pounded the railing hard and left an angry curse. Half an hour later, Oliver appeared in the study wearing a vest and long pants. It seemed that taking a shower had cleared his mind. The moment he saw me, he looked as if he wanted to bite me to death again. "Why haven't you left yet?" I put down my phone, glanced at his well-built muscles, and whistled, "You have a good figure. But it's -5 degrees outside now. Aren't you going to wear a coat? Mind your own business about what I wear. I'm telling you, Leo, right now. Immediately. Get out of my house." I frowned. I scolded gently, "You're so disrespectful. I'm here to teach you knowledge, not to collect debts. You don't even have the basic courtesy. You won't study unless it's Teacher Andrew teaching you? Don't you have any idea why he doesn't teach you anymore? What? Do you want to hit me?" I glanced at his clenched fist, sneered, stood up, walked up to him, and looked him straight in the eye. "Come on, whoever doesn't fight is a coward." Oliver stared at me intently with the lines of his cheeks tightened. His chest kept heaving. Maybe he really wanted to punch me to death. But in the end, he gave me a fierce look, walked to the desk, and took out his anger on the materials I brought. He swept all the test papers and such onto the carpet. Humph, that's all he can do. I ignored the mess on the ground, walked back to my seat and sat down, casually leaned back on the chair, twirled a pen with one hand, and pointed at him in the air with the other. "My classes are highly praised by Teacher Andrew, his boyfriend, and your mother. What reason do you have to make trouble with me? I'm the one taking the classes. It's up to me to choose what kind of teacher I want." "Oh," I deliberately dragged out the tone and curled my lips. "So you know you're the one taking the classes. The purpose of taking classes is to improve your grades, right? I can help your math score reach over 130 points. How about that? Do you still have a reason to refuse?" Seeing him clench his fist again, I relaxed and rotated my neck. "Don't say such childish things like you don't like me. There are many people who like me, and I don't care if you don't. Also, you're in the 2nd semester of senior year, kid. Be more mature. The college entrance examination is what you should be thinking about. Moreover, I teach and you pay. It's a straightforward deal. Why talk about feelings? Am I right?" Oliver looked at me with a heavy gaze, his jawline tightly tensed, still looking unconvinced. But at least the fierceness in his eyes subsided a bit. I tapped the table twice to break the silence. "Now pick up all the books and test papers on the ground and put them away properly." Oliver squinted his eyes, and his look became aggressive again, like a wolf whose tail had been stepped on. I didn't urge him. I wore a gentle smile on my face, giving him enough time to calm down. Anyway, it's all counted as class time. I'm happy to be idle. When I silently counted to 59, he squatted down. Then he started picking things up at double speed. Soon he reached my feet. "Lift your feet." "Sure, young master." I cooperated and moved my feet aside, but accidentally stepped on another test paper. I smiled apologetically, but Oliver didn't accept it. He roughly grabbed my ankle and threw it to the side. He gave me a venomous look again. I sighed silently. Heaven knows I really didn't do it on purpose. With a loud bang, Oliver threw the picked-up books neatly on the large desk. 2 more test papers were shaken off. I cast a casual glance and was about to say something when he had already bent down to pick them up and slapped them on the desk with a pop. I showed a gratified smile and gently clapped my hands. Well done, young master. Now, could you please go and get me a glass of water, young master? Oliver immediately frowned and stared intently, looking as if he was about to beat me up. I sighed softly. Young master, I don't know where your family's water dispenser is. With such a big family, won't you even offer me a glass of water? I heard from teacher Andrew that you're very generous. After a long stand off, Oliver unclenched his fist, gave me a sidelong glance, and turned to walk out of the door. Watching his back, I called out loudly, just plain water, no need to add anything else. The response I got was the loud bang of the door slamming shut. It seems he's really angry. But I couldn't stop laughing. When Oliver came back with the water, I had already arranged the materials, scratch paper, and pens for the class, and by the way, tidied up his seat as well. A glass of plain water was plunked down beside my hand and a little spilled on the back of my hand. It was warm. I picked up the glass and took a big sip. There was only the sweet taste of plain water. Not bad. He's a bit fierce, but at least he can understand what I'm saying. I thanked him and Oliver gave me an almost imperceptible eye roll. Let's just assume it was a twitch. I pulled out the chair for him and patted the back of the chair. Sit down, young master. I'll show you my true. After a class, I found that Oliver is not a good for nothing. He actually has some knowledge in his head. One could even say his foundation is decent. Then why did you hand in blank papers during exams? And they were all important exams. Oliver seemed to be deliberately avoiding the question and got up to leave. I grabbed his arm. Answer me. He shook me off rudely, looking extremely annoyed. Class is over, Teacher Leo. Mind your own business. Couldn't help but frown. What nonsense was this kid talking? I kicked his chair. Come back. I directly reached out and grabbed the drawstring of his sweatpants and pulled him back. What do you mean, what? Who said you should stand while I sit? Sit down. Oliver had a scowl on his face and reluctantly sat down, holding onto his pants as if he were going to break the chair. I let out a laugh. Come on, young master. Look at me. What do you mean by mind your own business? I've been teaching so diligently here, but you don't even bother to lift your pen. Why? Are you doing some kind of performance art? Oliver looked up, a sneer on his lips. No reason. I'm just like this. Teach if you want to. If you don't, just leave. See you out. After saying that, he got up and neatly moved his chair in front of me, as if he was afraid I'd grab him again. I was so angry that I laughed. In the blink of an eye, he was out of sight. Forget it. Take it slow. I can't just leave. Oliver's mother was afraid that I'd abandon her son halfway through the tutoring, just like I did with Andrew. So she even made an agreement with me. I'm supposed to tutor Oliver until the college entrance examination. Each session costs $800. Under Andrew's tutoring, Oliver once got a passing grade, so his mother promised to give me a 10,000 yuan bonus for every 10-point improvement. My family has been in the tea business for 3 generations. I'm not short of money. I'm just simply dissatisfied that my hard work goes to waste. And there's also a tiny bit of curiosity. After leaving the villa, I called Andrew. Hey Lou, I have a question for you. Oliver always hands in blank papers for math exams at school. Do you know why? Oh, that. I asked him, but he told me to mind my own business, so I did. But sometimes he can get a passing grade in weekly quizzes. I thought maybe he does the questions according to his mood. Anyway, you've seen his temper. You've seen his temper today, right? Well, just coax him. It's been tough on you. Coax him? I never coax anyone. I won't indulge his bad temper. Didn't you two get into a fight today? I let out a laugh. No, getting along with him is quite interesting. All right, I've got the situation. I'm hanging up now. Just as I was about to end the call, Lucas' voice came from the receiver. Leo, after you left this morning, that guy James came to the dorm again to bring you stuff. There were flowers and snacks. I put them on your desk. The smile on my lips froze instantly. How annoying. I sighed. Don't let him into our dorm from now on. Huh? What's going on? Did you two have a fight? No fight. We broke up. It was during the winter vacation. When I was 16 or 17, I realized that I was more interested in boys. After the college entrance examination, I confessed this to my parents. Fortunately, they were very open-minded and readily accepted my sexual orientation. They only had one requirement: be chaste and serious if I were to be in a relationship. After entering college, I formed a band with a few friends. After a year, the keyboardist quit. Coincidentally, James joined us right away, and surprisingly, we got along well. We practiced together and performed together. With the deafening music, the restless drum beats, and the flickering lights, people are always prone to fall in love in such an environment. As time went on, I started dating James. Before we got together, I often went to bars. After seeing a lot, I realized that in this circle, people prefer to seize the day because there are too many unstable factors. Just when I started thinking about the long-term nature of my relationship with James, I found that he was having an affair with a girl who often came to watch our performances. I don't know if they kissed, but they held hands, hugged, and their eyes were full of affection. Without hesitation, I made it clear and broke up with him. Originally, I thought I shouldn't let personal issues affect the band. After the breakup, we could just go back to being ordinary friends. James thought I was just angry and planned to explain things to me after I calmed down. It wasn't until he found that I blocked all his personal contact information that he started to panic. He kept calling me from different numbers and blocked me every now and then. Just like now, James is standing downstairs in the dorm like a doorkeeper. I'm not touched at all. Instead, I feel embarrassed. Just as I was about to turn around and leave, James came running over at full speed. Leo, have you had lunch? Let me treat you to a meal and then we can have a chat. Yes, I have. I interrupted him coldly. James was stunned for a moment and sized me up and down. Did you go on a date today? I frowned and ruffled my hair irritably. We have nothing to do with each other now. What I do has nothing to do with you. Leo, you really? Suddenly, my phone rang. It was actually Oliver calling. I glanced at James and made a gesture to keep quiet. Then I pressed the answer button. Hello, what's the matter? You left your hair tie in my room. The voice was so loud that I rubbed my ears. Hair tie? Oh, I remembered. When I was explaining the questions, Oliver suddenly said that the little ponytail at the back of my head was about to come loose. At that time, I was focused on guiding him through the thinking process. I reached up, took off the hair tie and threw it on the table and then completely forgot about it. I let out a laugh. Can you speak more quietly next time? Leave the hair tie there for now. I'll come to get it next Saturday. After hanging up the phone, I looked up at the person opposite. James looked extremely ugly. He must have heard it and seemed to have misunderstood. Well, let him misunderstand then. I'm too lazy to explain to an irrelevant person. In a blink of an eye, it was Saturday again, the day to tutor Oliver. In view of the last experience, I deliberately left home a little late this time. When I arrived, I found Oliver standing at the gate with a gloomy face. Teacher Leo, you're 20 minutes late. I raised my eyebrows slightly and remained calm. Sorry, there was a traffic jam on the way. I'll make it up for you later. Andrew used the same excuse when he was 10 minutes late once, but later I found out that he was lying to me. Teacher Leo, I don't like being deceived. It seemed that the young master was quite serious about it. Well, putting myself in his shoes, I don't like being deceived either. I smiled and told the whole truth. I did it on purpose. Because you made me wait for half an hour last time, I thought maybe you had some other arrangements this Saturday. It seems I overthought it. After a long silent stand-off, Oliver suddenly said, sorry. I looked up at the sky. Wasn't the sun rising from the east today? When I looked back at the door again, he was gone. Did he get shy just from apologizing? It's a bit interesting. Oliver was quite cooperative in today's class, so we finished all the tasks within the stipulated time. I leaned back on the chair and stretched. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Oliver about to leave. I quickly reached out and hooked the back of his collar. Immediately, I received a glare. What? Do you still want to have an extra, long class? I waved my index finger and propped my head up with one hand. Didn't I say I'd make up for the 20 minutes? Since you don't want to listen to my lecture so much, let's talk about something else. Oliver said with a cold face, I have nothing to talk to you about. I laughed. You may not have anything to say, but I do. Let me ask you a question. Do you really like Teacher Andrew? Oliver didn't say a word, and annoyance at having his secret exposed flashed in his eyes. I immediately sat up straight. To prevent him from running away again, I reached out and put my hand on the back of his chair. I see. Let me ask you another question. Did you like anyone before Teacher Andrew? No. I nodded seriously, that's it. It's all Teacher Andrew's fault for being so excellent. He was like a beam of light suddenly shining into your dull and boring senior 3 life. You were inevitably attracted by this light and then wanted to keep him. Now think about it. Is that really love? Do you really think that's love? Do you feel your blood boiling when you see him? Do you want to bare your heart to him? Have you included him in your future life plan? Do you? Judging from your blank look, I know the answer is no. So, kid, what you think is love is just a deformed possessiveness evolved from your curiosity. Ultimately, it's because you haven't experienced much. Teacher Leo. Oliver suddenly interrupted me, looking at me with a scrutinizing look in his eyes. It sounds like you've experienced a lot. Calling a teacher outside of class usually means no good. I raised my eyebrows and slowly curled my lips. Not much, but a little more than you. Oliver stared at me for a while, then lowered his eyes, lost in thought. I patted him on the shoulder. Cheer up. It's not your fault that you haven't experienced much. Your life is moving forward steadily. You'll meet someone who is both excellent and loves you as long as you become excellent enough yourself, okay? Oliver looked up, his eyes sharp. Teacher Leo, what do you want to say? I laughed. Can I see your true level in the next math exam? Oliver evaded the question. Teacher Leo, you're more persistent than Teacher Lou. Really? I looked into his eyes and smiled. So do you hate it or like it? Oliver fell silent again. His extremely aggressive eyes roamed over my face. Finally, they settled on the hair strands that fell to my chin. Then he took something out of his trouser pocket, spread it in his palm, and held it out in front of me. Yours. Return it to you. I couldn't help smiling and took the plain black hair tie still warm from his body. You still carry it with you? Oliver lowered his head and coughed softly, then replied indifferently, I'm afraid you'll ask me to compensate if it gets lost. I burst out laughing. After putting away the hair tie, I was just thinking about getting the conversation back on track. When I looked up, Oliver had already stood up and left. Left? Is he really that reluctant to stay with me? Half a month later, the band leader was having a birthday and had made an appointment at the bar where we often performed. I didn't plan to perform on stage at first, but someone mentioned it, so I went up. There were 3 songs in total. After getting off the stage, the leader walked beside me and nudged me with his shoulder. He joked that I had been pounding the drums tonight as if I were venting my anger. I smiled but didn't say a word. Actually, I was really venting my anger. Before I went on stage, James squeezed beside me and deliberately made physical contact with me from time to time. During the performance, he kept glancing at me. So annoying. When I got back to the booth and had a few drinks in silence, I just took out my phone when a message popped up. It was from Oliver, a picture of his math test paper with a score of 119. I immediately called him and the call was connected after 1 ring. Hello? I laughed and said, not bad, young man. But is this your real level? More or less? What's that noisy sound on your end? Really? I'm at Deep Blue now. It's Friday today. Why don't you come and relax? I'll treat. Wait, are you an adult yet? Minors under 18 are not allowed in bars. Forget it, tomorrow. It's Saturday tomorrow. I'll come to see you. I'm already 18. I had my birthday during the winter vacation. Leo, are you drunk? Ha. Yeah, I've just had 2 drinks. Then come over while I'm still sober. After hanging up the phone, the leader and the others also came back. They organized a board game. After 1 round, I had a few more drinks. While pouring the wine, I felt someone sit down beside me. I immediately put down my glass and headed to the bathroom. While washing my hands, I saw James with a gloomy face in the mirror. Looking at the mirror, I also gave him a cold look. James, I'll tell you one last time. We've broken up. If you keep acting like this, we won't even be just ordinary friends. Suddenly, he grabbed my shoulders and forcefully turned me towards him. His eyes were bloodshot. Leo, can't you give me one more chance? I slapped his hand away and sneered sarcastically, there's either 0 times or countless times of cheating. 1 chance probably isn't enough, right? But I don't want to give you even one. After saying that, I didn't look at him anymore and turned around to walk out. As I passed by James, he suddenly grabbed my arm tightly, yanked me towards him, and pinned me against the wall. He reached out and grabbed my neck, about to kiss me. I was completely off guard and almost let him succeed. After struggling free with all my might, I didn't hesitate to slap him across the face. Get out of here. He seemed to be in a daze, gasping heavily and reaching for my wrist again. Before I could react, a tall figure suddenly flashed in front of me. He lifted his foot and kicked James in the side. James showed a pained expression and growled, "Who are you?" I rubbed my wrist and gave him a disgusted look. "He's my student." "Watch your mouth." Oliver reached out and pulled me behind him, then turned to ask me, "Teacher Leo, do you want me to beat him up for you?" Oliver's serious and solemn look made me laugh. His right hand was still on my wrist. I raised my hand and shook it slightly, joking, "Are you going to pull me along?" Oliver seemed to just realize it and immediately let go of my hand. "You go outside and wait for me." Then he was about to step forward, which scared me, and I quickly grabbed him. "No, you've only got a few dozen days until the college entrance examination. You can't cause any trouble. It's not that I'm afraid he can't win. Just based on that kick just now, James is definitely no match for him. I'm just afraid that James will try to extort him later." Oliver still remained on high alert. I patted his shoulder. "Be obedient. Go outside and wait for me for a minute. I'll just say a few words and then leave." "Okay." After Oliver left, I walked up to James and slapped him across the face. "James, I'll just assume you were out of your mind because you were drunk today. I made my attitude very clear on the day we broke up. Do you understand the concept of a goodbye? Don't make me hate you." At the moment I turned around, James seemed to be on the verge of a breakdown as he shouted my name. I didn't stop walking and just waved my hand. If it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. Forgiveness is just paving the way for the next argument. And so-called pleas for reconciliation are just a waste of each other's time. But I don't like arguing and I don't like wasting time. I have to spend my precious time on people who are worth it. As I walked out of the bathroom, I saw Oliver standing at the corner at a glance. He was tall and straight, looking straight ahead without squinting. He was simply incredibly well behaved. I walked over and touched the back of his head, smiling and saying, "Let's go. I'll take you to another place." After saying hello to the band leader, I took Oliver to a quiet bar. It had a vintage decoration style, playing jazz music, and there weren't many people. The atmosphere was quite nice. After finding a seat and sitting down, I deliberately teased Oliver, "Do you want to drink wine or cola?" "A Long Island iced tea." The young man had quite a big appetite. However, despite what he said, I still ordered a tequila sunrise for him, a margarita for myself, and also ordered several snacks. I had already drunk quite a lot at Deep Blue just now. Now that I was relaxing, the dizziness was kicking in. I leaned against the sofa and poked the person beside me. "How did you precisely find me tonight?" "I asked the people in your band." "I saw your WeChat moments and recognized them." "Oh." Just then, the drinks were served. Oliver directly picked up his glass and took a big sip. "Drink slowly. Your drink still has alcohol in it." "Are you afraid I'll get drunk?" I nodded. "I feel a bit tipsy. One of us has to stay sober. I don't want to be taken advantage of by others." "Then why are you still drinking?" As he said that, he slapped my hand that was about to reach for the glass. He picked up the margarita and took a big sip, then put it aside. Then he got up and went to the bar to order another drink. When he came back, he plunked the glass down in front of me with a thud. I propped my head up with one hand and looked at him smiling. "Lemonade is more expensive than wine, young master." Oliver gave me a sidelong glance. "I've paid for it. Consider this glass as my treat for you." I raised my eyebrows slightly, tilted my head, and took a sip through the straw. "Oliver, thank you for tonight." Oliver looked at me. "What's your relationship with that guy?" I waited for a long time. I thought he was going to say it's okay or you're welcome. Why didn't he follow the routine? "Leo, apart from being in the same band, what's your relationship with him?" I gave a soft laugh. "Take a guess. Are you dating or have you broken up?" Well, he directly turned it into a multiple choice question for me. I sat up straight, looked into his eyes. "Do you want to know? Then tell me why you always hand in blank papers for math exams, and I'll answer you. Deal?" It wasn't until both glasses of wine were emptied that Oliver started to open up to me. "Both my parents run companies. They're both very busy and have never taken care of me. They divorced when I was 10. I was awarded to my father. After his second marriage, I applied to live on campus. He always gives me enough money. As long as I don't cause a life-threatening incident, he doesn't care about anything else. By the second semester of senior high school, I beat up Teacher Jack, the math teacher in my class, because I saw him molesting a female classmate in the class. He even reached his hand into her skirt, but he still insisted that he was tutoring her. Maybe the girl was also scared. She kept silent when confronting him in the principal's office. At this time, the dean jumped out and said that he had seen me fighting 1 against 3 or 5 outside the school before, and that Teacher Jack was the principal's relative, so they all thought that there was something wrong with my psychology and my behavior was excessive. They suspected that I had mania. Anyway, no one believed me. My dad quickly paid the medical expenses and donated a batch of experimental equipment to the school. After my mom knew about this, she thought I had gone astray. While being disappointed, she took me to her place and strictly disciplined me. To put it bluntly, she just managed my studies. I don't think there is anything wrong with my studies. Except for math, the total score of other subjects is also 500. Besides, I don't hand in blank papers in the college entrance examination either. Do you want to drag down the average math score of your class by handing in blank papers? Oliver was silent for 2 seconds and said expressionlessly, occasionally I would also step on the answer sheet before handing in the paper. I laughed so hard that my shoulders shook. Did it work? It worked well. Teacher Jack never won an award again. Anyway, my dad donated the experimental equipment. As long as I don't say I want to change classes, they don't dare to do anything to me. I patted him on the shoulder. Good boy. If I were you, I would vomit my overnight meal when I saw that Teacher Jack, let alone sit in the classroom and listen to his lectures. I didn't listen. I know. I'm just feeling sorry for you. Although it's a bit childish, after all, you resisted despite the nausea. Oliver looked a bit dazed at this moment. I reached out and scratched his chin. What's wrong, young master? He grabbed my hand that I didn't have time to withdraw and his eyelashes trembled slightly. You believe me? I slowly curled my lips and said firmly, I believe you. Seeing that he still looked dazed, I got closer and gently pulled the drawstring of his sweatshirt. Can I tell the smell of good people and bad people? Do you believe it? Then what kind of smell do I have? I blinked and whispered, the smell I like. Oliver's burning gaze was fixed on my face. To be precise, it was engraved in my eyes. As if confirming something. I was waiting for him to confirm. Suddenly, it became very quiet around, so that I seemed to hear the sound of thump, thump, thump. Is it the sound of a heartbeat? Whose is it? I couldn't help but smile, and Oliver looked away at this moment. He reached out to pick up the wine glass, only to find it was empty, and swallowed hard helplessly. I held back my laughter and pushed the half glass of lemonade to his hand. Drink it. Anyway, you paid for it. Oliver immediately turned his head and gave me a long, lingering look. The boy looked like he was about to explode. I stopped smiling and became serious. Okay, young master. Do you believe that I believe you now? Also, you can express your resistance, but you can't use your future as the price. It's not worth it. Do you know? In the future, you still have to take the exams. Doing questions in the exam room is different from doing them on ordinary days. And you have to do the mock test papers seriously in the later stage. It will be helpful for your college entrance examination. Got it? Got it. I smiled with relief, good boy. Leo. Ha! It's your turn to answer me. He actually remembered it all the time. I cleared my throat. Yes, we broke up. How long did you date? For more than 3 months. Why did you break up? He cheated. Did you kiss? I glanced at him. What do you think? Oliver looked at me again with that calm yet extremely aggressive look. Did you sleep together? Are you interrogating me? No, I'm just curious, just like you're curious about me. Can you satisfy my curiosity, Teacher Leo? I sighed, covering half of my face. No. When I looked up, I happened to see the slight upturn of Oliver's lips. What are you so happy about? Really? Maybe I'm happy that the teacher satisfied my curiosity. This brat. There were only 8 classes left before Oliver's college entrance examination, and I actually felt that sense of urgency like counting down. I always put in 120% of my energy in each class, but the person involved seemed quite relaxed. Today in class, I was analyzing the last big question for him. Suddenly, he leaned in very close, sniffed and asked, "What shampoo do you use? It smells so good." Without looking up, I replied perfunctorily, "Head and Shoulders." "What? Does it bother you?" Then I moved my chair to the side and continued to pick up the pen and point at the test paper. Look here. I've summarized this kind of question for you before. Screech. Oliver grabbed my chair with one hand and pulled me over, getting even closer than before. It doesn't bother me. It smells really nice. I turned my head to look at him and didn't say a word. What are you looking at? I still didn't say a word. I propped my head up and watched the tips of his ears getting redder and redder, then let out a soft laugh. You've got quite a strong hand. Oliver seemed to have been poked in some nerve and didn't control his strength well. A small blot of ink spread on the paper. I pretended not to see it and picked up the pen to correct a number in the equation for him. You even substituted the wrong data. How can you get it right? I was about to correct it. I gave him a speechless look, threw the pen down, and leaned back on the chair. Fine, do it yourself. I've also explained questions of the same type. If you make a mistake, I'll implement the punishment. Oliver turned to look at me again, with a smile in his eyes. What kind of punishment? I squinted my eyes. After sizing him up for 3 seconds, I reached out and flicked his forehead. You seem quite looking forward to it? Hurry up and do it. You must succeed. Got it. Then will I get a reward if I do it right? I looked at him amusedly. Yes, you can look forward to it. 10 minutes later, Oliver slapped the test paper in front of me with a pop and looked extremely smug. Reward. I looked it over carefully. He really did a good job. I looked up, smiled at him, and slowly clapped my hands. Young master is so great. That's it. Oliver looked completely incredulous. I glanced at my watch, stood up, and started packing up my things. What else do you expect me to do? Kiss and hug you like I'm dealing with a little kid? Why not? I stopped what I was doing, looked up, and looked at him half, smiling. How old are you, Oliver? 18. No one says that rewards are age restricted. I looked down and smiled. All right then. I turned around and leaned against the edge of the desk, beckoning to him. Come a little closer. At this moment, Oliver was incredibly cooperative. I propped one hand on the edge of the desk and placed the other on his shoulder, smiling. Do you want a hug? Or a kiss? Oliver hung his head, his whole body tensing involuntarily. Whatever. Really? Then, lower your head a bit. Oliver obediently did as he was told. My eyes slid over his extremely red earlobes, and looking at his slightly trembling eyelashes, I slowly leaned in, so close that our breaths intertwined. The moment Oliver swallowed hard, I suddenly turned my head, rested my chin on his shoulder, put my arm around his waist, and said with a soft smile, I forgot to say, I don't kiss people who score below 130 in math. Come on, young master. Let me see your capabilities. In the following days, Oliver showed an unprecedented enthusiasm for learning math. After class, he even actively asked me for test papers to practice, and when he sent me messages, it was also about asking questions. At 11 or 12 o'clock at night, he still wanted to call me for a video call to discuss the solution methods. Yesterday, his mother called me and said that Oliver had made great progress in math in the second mock exam. Her tone was filled with unbridled joy. After hanging up the phone, she transferred 10,000 to me. Well, that's great, isn't it? The next day, when I went to give Oliver lessons, I carried 2 big bags of snacks and bought him a pen worth $18.88. However, the young master himself wasn't in high spirits. He still cooperated well in class, answering every question, but it was obvious that he was unhappy. After class, I didn't rush to pack my books. I poked the cold-faced and cool-acting someone. Your mother told me that you did well in math in the second mock exam. How many points did you get? Why didn't you tell me? Oliver glanced at me, then turned his head away and lazily said, 129. That's not bad. I suddenly thought of something. Then I couldn't hold it in and burst out laughing. Oliver frowned unhappily. Is it that funny? I immediately stopped and resumed my normal smile. I'm happy for you. You really did well in the exam. Then I took out the pen and handed it to him. Here, this is a tangible reward. Isn't it more practical than a kiss or a hug? Oliver took the pen and played with it. After a long time, he turned around to face me. Teacher Leo, the pen is great. Thank you, but I value spiritual encouragement more. I was stunned for a moment and almost burst out laughing again. I squinted at him for a while, sighed in my heart, stood up, and opened my arms. Come on, let me give you some encouragement. Seeing that he didn't move, I pretended to put my hands down. Don't want it? Then forget it. Before I could finish speaking, I was suddenly pulled into a hug. The strength of his arms was so strong that it almost broke my waist. I couldn't help but punch his back. Can't you be a little gentler? Oliver loosened his grip a bit, but still didn't let go of me. Teacher Leo is so delicate? Delicate. I laughed. I can be quite delicate when I'm in a good mood. When I'm in a bad mood, I could smash your head open with a drumstick. Got it. The teacher is still in a good mood now. There's no need to pay attention to him. Oliver let go of me and sat back on the chair, with a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. Teacher, I want to ask you a question. Ask. I was packing up my things and didn't look up. Have you forgotten that person? Why keep the memory for the spring festival? What a stupid question. Ask another one. Oliver laughed and said, Do you have any plans to start a new relationship recently? I sighed. I stopped what I was doing, sat back, and patiently said, Oliver, there's only half a month left before the college entrance examination. You can only think about this one thing now. Put other things aside for the time being and consider them after the college entrance examination. Okay. But the teacher also has to promise me one thing. I looked at him warily, trying to find a reason to refuse. But Oliver's gaze was too sincere, so I relented and said, Tell me. Wait for me. Give me a chance after I finish the college entrance examination. Okay. I gave a soft laugh and said, What chance? You're asking on purpose. Then I'll ask on purpose. What can you do to me? Oliver seemed to want to say something else. I immediately put my finger in front of my lips. I quickly packed up my things, got up and walked to his side. I pulled up his hood and put it on his head, pressed on his shoulders and leaned over and said, If you score below 600 in the college entrance examination, don't even mention it. The day before the last class for Oliver, I very disgracefully got sick. Illness comes on like a mountain. I stayed in bed all day. Fortunately, I didn't have a fever the next day, but my throat felt as if I had taken a medicine to make me hoarse. There were only 3 days left before his college entrance examination. I originally wanted to go over his common mistakes with him again. As a result, all that came out of my mouth were whispers. Oliver frowned and looked at me. I didn't know if it was out of disgust or something else. I gave him the condensed version of the wrong question collection I had sorted out for him a few days ago. Then I took out my phone and typed, Read it by yourself first. I'll go downstairs to get a glass of water. Oliver glanced at it and then ran away in a flash. In less than a minute, a lukewarm glass of water appeared beside me. I showed a relieved smile. Thinking back to the first time we met, I had to rattle on a lot just to get a glass of water. So nice. The child has grown up. Half an hour later, there was a knock on the door. The aunt from Oliver's family brought a stew and placed it in front of me, saying it was for soothing the throat. I smiled and nodded at the aunt to express my gratitude. Oliver was reviewing very seriously. He didn't even lift his head during the whole process. I took a sip, imitated the line chat box on a blank page, wrote 2 characters in it and handed it to his hand. Delicious. Soon, 2 crooked chat boxes appeared on the blank page. Finish it. Don't waste it. I couldn't help laughing and took a big gulp from the bowl. I continued writing and drawing. Ask me if you don't understand anything. Oliver replied quickly. The chat box was still ugly. No. After finishing the stew, I lay on the table and stared blankly at the strange, shaped chat boxes on the blank page. So strange. Clearly our elbows were touching each other. Yet we still played this childish game of pretending to be across time and space. Well, it takes 2 to tango. Who asked him to cooperate with me so well? I shifted my gaze to the tip of Oliver's pen that was scribbling away. He was really serious and never before had he been so worry-free. Gradually, my eyelids became heavier and heavier. I thought I'd just take a little nap. As a result, when I woke up from a nap, it was already 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was lying in Oliver's bed, covered with his quilt. Even the little ponytail at the back of my head had been untied. When I walked out of the bedroom, I found Oliver still sitting at the desk. I tiptoed behind him and gently rested my elbows on the back of his chair. I immediately noticed the plain black hair tie on his left wrist. Oliver looked back at me. There's food left in the dining room, covered with a heat-retaining cover. It should still be hot. I tried to cough twice and found that I could make some sounds. I stammered, unexpectedly. The young master is quite good at taking care of people, Oliver said with a hint of dissatisfaction in his tone. I may be a bit short-tempered, but I'm not blind. Besides, the past is the past and the present is the present. I held back my laughter and nodded in agreement. Then I took a chair not far away, placed it beside him, and sat down with my back to him. Please help me tie my hair again, young master. It's a bit inconvenient when eating. After waiting for a while and getting no response, I turned around and asked, Can't you do it? Oliver seemed to come back to his senses all of a sudden and immediately said, Yes, I've seen you do it. I curled my lips. Okay. Don't tie it too tight. Make it look nice. After dinner, I went upstairs and was about to say goodbye when Oliver suddenly asked me if I had anything to do in the afternoon. I shook my head. He then asked me if I could stay and help him review for a while, saying he had some questions to ask me. I nodded and sat down beside him. As a result, he didn't ask me a single question about the study, but asked a lot of other insignificant things, such as, Are you sleepy? Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Do you want to go to the audio-visual room to watch a movie? And so on. It wasn't until the sun set that Oliver asked me to stay for dinner and then saw me off. How should I put it about this day? It seemed like I spent a day recuperating comfortably at Oliver's house and even earned 800 yuan. It was wonderful. The day before the college entrance examination, I inexplicably started to feel nervous. I couldn't concentrate in class. I ate too much for dinner. Originally, I had an appointment with Lucas to go to the badminton hall to exercise. Just after warming up, Andrew called, and Lucas disappeared in a flash. What a speechless situation. Is it so great to have a partner? I didn't want to play with others, so I walked out of the stadium and wandered around alone. As a result, I accidentally wandered to the downstairs of Oliver's villa. It was completely dark at this time. There were less than 15 hours left until the college entrance examination. I wondered if Oliver was nervous now. I opened the chat interface with him. The last message was from 3 hours ago when he asked me if I had dinner. After thinking about it, I still decided to call him. He answered the phone quickly. Hello. I laughed and said, Good evening. Is your throat better? Much better. I could speak normally, but my voice still sounded a bit hoarse. Oh, are you outside now? I can hear the wind blowing quite strongly there. Did you wear a coat? If not, go back quickly. Don't catch a cold again. The wind here is also quite strong. Wait for me to close the window. Oliver rambled on the other end of the phone. After walking to the window, the voice on the phone suddenly disappeared. Oliver held the phone with one hand and leaned on the window with the other, as if he had been cast a spell to freeze. I tilted my head back, my eyes curved with laughter, and said to the phone again, Good evening. Oliver came to his senses and unconsciously swore in the phone. Immediately afterwards, the sound of him opening the door and going downstairs came. While I hung up the phone and put it in my pocket, he appeared in front of me. He waved his hand and put a coat on me, then pulled me into the house. Why didn't you tell me you were coming? I called to ask if you were nervous. Your voice sounded normal, so I was about to leave. Oh, you heard wrong. I'm extremely nervous. Look at all the sweat on me. I stopped walking and scanned his sportswear up and down. I said quietly, Are you sure it's because of nervousness? Oliver lifted the corner of his mouth and pushed me into his room. Half and half. Sit down for a while. I'll take a shower. Oliver went to his bedroom, and I stayed in the study outside. I helped him check his exam stationery, admission ticket, and ID card. Oliver took quite a long time to take a shower. He came out half an hour later, with water still dripping from his hair ends. Why don't you blow dry your hair? Aren't you afraid of catching a cold? No need. It'll dry soon. With that, he shook his head vigorously, like a big golden retriever just out of the water. I took 2 pieces of paper and put them on his forehead. Go to bed early tonight, get up on time tomorrow, and have breakfast. When you get to the exam room, just treat it like a usual mock exam. Do what you're supposed to do and don't think about other things. Judging from how you look now, you should not be nervous. I won't disturb you anymore. Oliver suddenly grabbed my wrist. Who said I'm not nervous? Do you want me to take out my heart and show it to you? I'm so nervous that my heart is about to split in 2. I looked at him amusedly. Then what do you want me to do? Stay with me for a while longer. For how long? I'm not sure. I didn't say anything else. I took a step back and leaned against the bookcase, quietly looking at him. At first, Oliver could calmly look me in the eye, but after a few seconds, he averted his gaze. After a while, he looked at me again, repeating this over and over. His expression changed from hesitating to speak to looking sheepish. It made me laugh. I took a step forward and scratched his chin with my finger. What's wrong? After being silent for 2 seconds, Oliver finally said, Teacher Leo, I just made the bed in the bedroom. Can you stay here tonight? No wonder he took so long to take a shower. I smiled helplessly. Oliver, will you stop being nervous if I stay by your side? Yes, I'll be happy to see you and won't have time to be nervous. Then what if I don't stay tonight? I'll have insomnia and won't be able to sleep all night. Maybe the situation started to get out of control the moment I was wandering around aimlessly. I was lowering my head and thinking when Oliver spoke again. Teacher Leo, I'm the only one in this house tonight. I'm a bit scared. Where's your mom? Isn't she going to send you for the exam tomorrow? She's very busy. I haven't seen her for a month. Poor kid. I patted him on the shoulder and said, Go and prepare toiletries for me. They're already ready, and I've also prepared pajamas. After taking a shower, I sent a message to Lucas, asking him to help me deal with the dormitory inspection and the roll call for the first class tomorrow morning. Lucas sent a row of question marks in succession and then said, I have the right to know the reason. I replied, sending a kid to take the college entrance examination. I learned from the bedtime chat last night that Oliver's housekeeper had asked for leave. I originally planned to get up early to make breakfast for Oliver. Who would have thought that his biological clock was set for 5:30? When I got up, he had already gone for a run, taken a shower, and made 2 delicious breakfasts. How ashamed I was. I could only finish the breakfast with a lump in my throat. After we left home, Oliver, the one taking the exam, was more relaxed than me, the one seeing him off. He was extremely cheerful. Before entering the examination room, he even comforted me not to be nervous. Is this reasonable? I was so angry that I sat in a milk tea shop across from the examination room for 3 hours. After Oliver finished the Chinese exam and came out, I took him to lunch before going back to school. Lucas asked me to play basketball with him in the afternoon. I refused him without hesitation, just as he had refused me yesterday. Reason, picking up the kid. When Oliver saw me as he came out of the examination room, no exaggeration, his eyes were shining. He ran towards me at full speed. I almost couldn't catch him. Oliver put his arm around my shoulder and said excitedly as we walked, since I started kindergarten, no one has ever come to pick me up. The driver doesn't count. I mean, someone close to me. You know what I mean, right? I slightly raised my eyebrows, peeled a piece of chocolate, and stuffed it into his mouth. Am I close to you? You must be. Oliver's voice became muffled. Why don't you even ask me how I did in the exam? I won't ask. Forget about each exam after you've taken it. Don't think about it either. Instead, you can think about what to eat tonight. I don't care what to eat. Will you stay tonight? Will you see me off tomorrow morning? Will you take me to lunch? Will you come to pick me up this afternoon? Oliver looked at me eagerly, his eyes full of expectation. It's really hard to refuse. I smiled helplessly and pushed away his head that was getting closer and closer. Yes, I'll stay, send you, take you to lunch, and pick you up. Are you satisfied? Oliver nodded, then let go of me and kept a little distance. What's wrong? Oliver looked straight ahead and his tone suddenly became serious. I'm afraid I can't help it. Can't help but want to kiss you. The next day was the same as usual. The difference was that after Oliver finished his English exam and came out after I gave him the bouquet I had prepared in advance, we went our separate ways. There was a class party in his class that night. Our band had a performance that night. It was the second anniversary celebration of the Deep Blue Bar today. They had planned a lot of programs. Our band was arranged in the middle with 3 songs to play. To fit the theme of the event, I wore a black choker made of leather and silver chains and simply put on a sleeveless black t-shirt. Of course, my hair was carefully styled. The main idea was to spend money on the most important things. There were quite a lot of people at the scene. When it was our turn to take the stage, the atmosphere was already completely heated up. The lights were blurred and dazzling. The rock music mixed with people's voices was almost going to blow the roof off. All the muscles in my body were engaged. Every strike seemed to smash the notes into my blood. I had been keeping a cold face until I saw an 189-centimeter tall handsome guy wearing a black baseball cap in the audience. The moment our eyes met, I couldn't help but curl up the corners of my lips. My fingers flipped and twirled the drumsticks. After taking them back to my palm and hitting a strong accent forcefully, I winked at the cool-looking Oliver. After winking, I didn't look at him anymore and concentrated on playing my percussion. After the performance, I went straight to the backstage. As soon as I lifted the curtain and went in, my arm was suddenly grabbed and pulled forward. Then I was pressed against the door panel with my waist held. The scorching breath suddenly approached. I let out a soft laugh, holding his cheek with one hand and opening my lips to meet him. In the darkness, ambiguity filled the air and the heavy breathing grew louder. I put my finger on his lips as he got closer. What's our relationship now? Oliver caught my hand and wrapped it in his palm, then kissed me forcefully again. Gone was the initial shyness, replaced by a hint of domineering. He didn't let go until someone passed by. He blocked me tightly with his body, breathing heavily on me. I pursed my slightly swollen lips and whispered with a chuckle in his ear, the person has gone far away. How long are you going to pin me down? Oliver immediately straightened up. A hint of embarrassment flashed across his face, but he quickly regained his composure. He looked at me with his bright black eyes and said, Leo, you promised me. Give me a chance. I didn't say a word, just raised an eyebrow. Oliver looked at me and continued, Leo, I like you. Can you be my boyfriend? Reasons. What? I put an arm on his shoulder and said, why are you so sure that you like me? Isn't it just a passing fancy? Absolutely not. Oliver suddenly changed his expression. I'm sure I like you. Do you want me to take out my heart and show it to you? I curled my lips and gently pinched his earlobe. Don't be so excited. I'm asking this to be responsible for you and also for myself. Liking is a feeling. This feeling might be a byproduct of the hormonal burst in your body. So I hope you calm down and use your reason to confirm your feelings. Oliver stared at me for a while and his eyes gradually calmed down. I understand what you mean. Because of what happened with Teacher Lou before, you're worried that I'll be confused again, right? Just as I was about to say something, Oliver interrupted me. I can understand your concerns. Just saying I like you really isn't convincing. I wanted you to be my boyfriend without even courting you. I was too naive and ignorant. But there's one thing I don't quite agree with. If you really like someone, your reason will also lean towards him. Do you understand what I mean? I can't be rational when it comes to you. So I'll prove my feelings to you with actions. You don't have to give me a response. Just treat me as one of your suitors, okay? I looked at his earnest eyes and couldn't help laughing. There seems to be no reason to refuse. A smile curved Oliver's lips. I'm rather mundane, so the first step for me to court someone is to give gifts. As soon as he finished speaking, he took off his watch and put it on my hand. A Jaeger LeCoultre mechanical watch. I was a bit helpless. This is too expensive, isn't it? Usually people start with giving flowers. I'll give flowers later. I just want to give you the watch now. This watch is brand new. I wore it for the first time tonight. When you were drumming, I thought it would look much better on you. And it really does. It looks incredibly good on you. I deliberately teased him. Aren't you cold with an empty wrist? Oliver looked at me for 2 seconds and then a mischievous smile curved his lips. He reached out and touched the back of my neck, then with a flick of his finger, he took off the choker around my neck. Then he wrapped it around his left wrist, fastened it carefully, and waved it in front of me. Am I cool, bro? It still has your body heat. Now my wrist isn't cold anymore. I really shouldn't have said that. Once Oliver said he was going to court me, he didn't waste a single moment. Before the university holiday, he sent me flowers, meals, and snacks to my dormitory every day. Sometimes I'm not around, and Lucas becomes the recipient. I don't know when they got in touch. It should be Andrew who made the connection. Oliver also helped me with the final summary assignment for an elective course. This really added a lot of points. Last weekend, he invited me to go out on a motorcycle ride. I felt like my soul was floating the whole time. It was so exhilarating. This weekend, we flew to Sonia. We went surfing, diving, and riding motorboats. I just had to have fun and didn't have to worry about anything else. Oliver arranged everything. How should I put it? Oliver showed me his reliable side. Of course, there are other aspects. I can feel that Oliver is trying his best to show me his most authentic self. He is energetic, gets jealous easily, and is very honest. He hardly hides his emotions in front of me, unless he's preparing a surprise for me. He also never hides his desire for me. But since he knows he doesn't have an official status yet, if he really can't hold it in, he'll seriously ask me if he can give me a kiss. I'm really glad to see him like this. His extremely handsome and aggressive face becomes obedient because of his longing, with a bit of cuteness in his wildness. It makes my heart flutter and also stirs up my desire. Yes, the day Oliver told me he scored 647 in the college entrance examination, I was waiting for him to confess his love. But he didn't. Apart from asking for one more kiss from me, he didn't show any abnormalities. After Oliver sent me back to school, I kept wondering what was going on in his head. Maybe I looked a bit solemn. Lucas tactfully asked me if I was in the burnout stage of a passionate relationship. I'm speechless, handsome guy. I haven't even started dating, okay. During the final exam week, Oliver obediently reduced the frequency of our contact. After I finished my semester, he resumed his enthusiastic pursuit. I thought he had his own rhythm, so I just let him be. Until the last day of July, just after dinner at home, I was making fucha for my grandpa. Oliver called and said he was downstairs at my place. Grandpa leaned on the window and looked downstairs with me. He asked me when I was going to bring this young man home to have a look. Looking at Oliver all dressed up so carefully, I smiled and said, "If nothing unexpected happens tomorrow." Oliver came on his Kawasaki, took me for a ride along the river, and then we went back to his place. Just as we got home, we found Oliver's mom driving out of the garage. She stopped in front of us, gave Oliver a glare, then smiled at me and handed me 2 cards. "Here, take them quickly." "What are these?" "One is a bonus for you and the other is your pocket money for you too. There will be a monthly transfer. Auntie's company is quite busy. From now on, could you take care of Oliver for me, dear? Auntie is in a hurry and has to go. No more chatting." "Yes, Auntie, you." Oliver's mom stepped on the accelerator all the way, and in the blink of an eye, even the car's shadow was gone. "Is that okay, dear? Auntie is in a hurry and has something to do. I won't chat anymore." "Yes, Auntie, you." Oliver's mother stepped on the accelerator all the way, and in the blink of an eye, not even the shadow of the car could be seen. Seems she was really in a hurry. Holding the 2 cards, I turned to Oliver and asked, "Did you come out to your family as gay?" Oliver raised his eyebrows. "Sort of. I told her I'm chasing you, and she said she'd give me a hand. Come on, let's go inside. I can't wait to confess my love to you." Oliver pulled me into his room and made me sit on the swivel chair. He took out an email and put it on my lap, then knelt down on one knee, put his hands on my knees, coughed lightly and said, "I'm going to start." I couldn't help laughing. "Come on then." Oliver let out a breath and looked at me. "Leo, I'm sure I like you, really like you. The reasons are as follows. First, from a certain moment on, I've become so that whenever I see you, my blood boils all over my body. The specific manifestation is that I want to hug you, kiss you, and you know what I mean." I slightly raised my eyebrows, didn't say a word, and just looked at him smiling. Second, every time you don't believe me, I want to take out my heart and show it to you. Or rather, not just my heart, I want to give you everything I have, give you the best. Third, I've thought about my future. I applied to University Z. Because you're there. I'll learn to cook because I want to make delicious food for you. I'll work hard to make money because I want you to have endless money. I'll always keep a strong physique because I want to be able to carry you around the world when I'm 80. I'll try the things you like because I want to have more common topics with you. I'll listen to you because I want to hear you praise me and see you smile. I'll take learning how to love someone as a lifelong lesson, but only if that someone is you. Okay? Leaning back on the chair, I tilted my head and sized him up in a relaxed posture. His ears were red. His Adam's apple rolled involuntarily. The muscles at the corners of his lips were tense, and his eyes never left mine for a moment. Oliver was nervous, very nervous. I picked up the email and opened it. Out fell an admission notice and a diamond ring. I pinched the ring and joked, "Did Z University mail this to you too?" Oliver held my palm with one hand and took the ring with the other. He said seriously, "It was mailed by Oliver 4 years later. He asked me to put it on you to see if it fits." Okay? I deliberately teased him. "What if it doesn't fit?" Oliver glanced at me and then lowered his eyes to slip the ring onto my ring finger. As he pushed it down, he whispered, "Impossible." I secretly measured it. I burst into laughter, held his hand and stood up. I cupped his cheek with one hand and gave him a peck on the lips. "I like it very much, both you and the ring." A smile instantly appeared in Oliver's eyes. Then he suddenly lowered his head and kissed me. The kiss was wild and lingering. The setting sun slowly faded behind us, and night fell. Oliver hugged my waist. He rested his chin on my shoulder and asked awkwardly, "You're not leaving tonight, right?" I laughed and stepped back a little. I reached out and pinched his chin. "What would I stay for if I don't leave? Just sleep. I can also sleep at home." Oliver didn't say a word. He just stared at me all the time, telling me what he wanted to do with his eyes. I slowly curved my lips. I hung one arm around his neck, leaned close to his ear and whispered softly, "Did you prepare the stuff? Is it for you or for me?" "It's up to you." I slapped him on the shoulder. "Tell the truth." The arm around my waist tightened instantly. His hot breath sprayed on my neck. "Brother, I want you." I let out a muffled laugh. "I can feel it." "Then will you agree?" "Yes." The two of us helped each other out in the bathroom once. To be honest, I'm a bit scared. Back in the bedroom, Oliver couldn't wait to hug me and fall onto the bed. He lowered his head to seek a kiss and his hands were also busy. I reached out and grabbed the hair at the back of his head. I pulled him away with a little force and looked into his lust-filled eyes. "Be gentle, okay?" Oliver pressed down on me again. His lips brushed against mine intentionally or unintentionally when he spoke. "I know, brother. I can tell the difference between having one good time and having many. I was also studying hard during your final exam week. Trust me." "Turn off the lights." "Okay, I'll turn off the lights."